or welcome back to my channel. My name is Vanissia. This is the Woolly Worker Knitting Podcast, and today I am joining you for a very special episode where I will talk to you all about my 2024 knitting plans and intentions. And I will also spend a little bit of time reviewing the 2023 knitting goals to see if I met them. I thought that that could be a really cool thing to do, and hopefully do that again in a year about these goals. There'll be chapters and timestamps in the description below if you just want to skip ahead to the 2024 knitting plans, of course. And while you're there and you're checking out the video description, you can find all the relevant and important information. You can also find me on social media, Ravelry and Instagram at thewoollyworker, same as here on YouTube. You can also find me on Ko-Fi if you want to support me for the work that I do for just the price of a cup of coffee. And then feel also free to join the Discord server, the Woolly Worker Discord. Link is in the description. It's been really fun and I've really been enjoying that medium as a way to talk to you guys as opposed to Instagram. So with that all out of the way, let's get into the topic of today's video. I'm wearing the Marseille jumper by Petite Knit, which I thought was funny because it's a bit of a wink to my 2023 knitting goals video where I was wearing the exact same thing and probably looked a little different as well. That was a year ago Vanissia, so yeah, maybe next year I'll wear this one again. But it's been a year, and last year I had made quite a lot of specific goals, like very tickable tick box exercises. For half of them I already had the yarn prepared for the project plans I was making. This year I've kind of shifted gears a little bit. I've mostly made goals that relate to more overarching ideas about the year and ways I want to take my knitting into. There's a few tick boxes one as well, such as, you know, like do this pattern or do this amount of things, but it's more going to be about general directions that I want this year to take. I'd also be really curious to hear what kind of goals and plans you guys are making, so maybe have a bit of a think about that while you watch this video. I hope that it's inspiring or motivating. But I'll start by reviewing the knitting goals from 2023. So I had 10 goals, and obviously if you want to watch that video, feel free to go watch it before. The first one was to knit a Mary Wallen pattern. I really wanted to make the yellow cardigan or the brise sweater, which are both like garments, but I knew I wanted to dip my toes into this first by making another Fair Isle Mary Wallen accessory probably, and I ended up making it. I did the burra cowl. I already had the yarn back then, and here's the finished item. I wear it all the time. It's a huge success. I removed one repeat, so it was only 3 repeats long as opposed to 4, and I'm really glad with the circumference and diameter that gave me. And the yarn is amazing. I had no doubt about Jameson of Shetland. I've used it before for color work and I really like it. And now that I have all of these beautiful colors from Jameson, I've been able to use some of them again because it doesn't use much of any color at all since they're repeated all the time in small doses. So yeah, this year I'm definitely wanting to make more Mary Wallen patterns. I'll very likely be doing another cowl, I think Nelly cowl I want to do, maybe a scarf, and then because of the Magnum Opus challenge thing from the charity live stream, I'm gonna hopefully be casting on the yellow cardigan once I pick colors, so it's nice to have a bit of continuity from that. The second goal I had was to make a sweater for my boyfriend. I made the single malt by Maxim Sir. I was hesitating between doing it in superwash Malabrigo yarn, which I knew would be soft, but I was worried about how that would grow. And then I was considering Cascade or Filcana Peruvian Highland wool. In the end we went with Cascade 220, which is a non-superwash. I think it's also Peruvian wool, and it's a huge success. It fit him so well. If anything, it was a tad too short, I think, but he's never complained about it. It really fits him well. It's a nice pattern that looks really good on like the male figure, and it really highlights his arms a lot because the arms are quite fitted. I actually made a modification where I decreased less than what the pattern even called for, and it's still quite fitted, and he wears it a lot, and every time he puts it on to go to work or something, I feel so proud and so happy. And he's definitely shown that he's a really good person to knit a sweater to as a gift, so I'll definitely be making another one for him this year. We're going to be making the Petite Knit Hans Holm sweater. I think it's the DK1. The Northland is the RN, I think. So we're going to be making the DK1 in Woolly Knit Merino cone in this beautiful, I'll show it to you. This beautiful mustasa green. I don't know how well the colors are going to show here on camera, but this is the yarn that he chose. yeah, he chose it. And yeah, I think I'm gonna be maybe making a start for that either at the same time that I did last year, or I could maybe do it in August, September. I don't think it'll take too long, although saying that, it probably will take longer than I think because the length are going to be quite different. But yeah, that was a really good success of a goal. Then the third one was to steek a project, and I had in mind the Brunsfield by Isolde Teague. I did not meet that goal. I did buy the yarn for it, but I didn't make it, and never came close, to be honest. It never came to the top of the list. So I don't think I'm going to put it on my list of things to do this year, because nothing really has changed that's going to make me prioritize it. But yeah, it's okay. My goal was to kind of learn a new skill or a new technique, and it was between steeking and intarsia. I also don't really have any plans or need to do any intarsia this year, so yeah, it just didn't happen. Then the next one was to knit 2 cardigans. I had in mind the April cardigan and the Field cardigan by Ozetta, or Field Day cardigan. I made the April, didn't make the Field Day, didn't like the yarn I had picked for the Field Day, and in the end the April cardigan made its way into my flops video of the year, even though I made it according to all the yarns and everything I had in mind for it. It just was not tolerable for me with mohair, but I think my mom has claimed that one, so I'm going to gift it to her. And it's okay. I definitely want to remake the April cardigan with another yarn combination. I was thinking of just doing it in like merino held double, or maybe even double Sunday. I'm wearing double Sunday right now, and I really love it, and I like the drape it has on that needle size. I think this was on 4mm needles, so I think I could definitely make an April cardigan in double Sunday, and I was thinking into like a nice poppy red color, or periwinkle blue, or spring green, maybe aqua green actually. So yeah, I probably won't make it this year because it's still not been that long since I made my first iteration of the April cardigan, but I really love the pattern. I like the fit on me. It just like didn't work out. But I did make 4 cardigans in total, so I show photos here. I made the April, the Levitate, the cardigan number 7, and then what was the other one? The Traveler's cardigan, so by Ozetta. So yeah, I made 4 cardigans, and this year definitely gonna keep putting cardigans as like an item I want to prioritize and really want to make sure I end up doing at least 2 next year. I probably will do more, hopefully. I've got a couple right now that are like works in progress, so hopefully that will be like a slam dunk and will get done. So yeah, maybe 2 or 3 cardigans this year would be nice to follow on from that as well. I already had in mind last year the cardigan number 8 by My Favorite Things Knitwear. I still totally have that plan, and I now have the yarn for that one. So if you remember me wanting to make the cardigan number 8 last year, I still want to make it. It probably will happen this year, so that's really exciting, and I'm glad I met that goal. The next one was felt, an item, and I was thinking of either doing slippers or mittens or a beret number 3 by My Favorite Things Knitwear. Again, didn't get to do that, same as the steeking project, so I didn't get to felt anything, but I still want to do it, and I have the yarn for it. I have some red yarn for a beret number 3. I was talking in that video about this yarn by Sendis Garn, which is Fritted Garn. This is the color 4219, and it's meant to be very feltable. It already looks felted, to be honest. And I think the reason that I have not done that is one of the silliest reasons, but it's because I've been kind of putting it in my mind that I would make a reel on Instagram, or like a step-by-step video, or a project diary video for YouTube where I would record every step. And I think that basically just put itself as an obstacle in the way of me doing it, because I am feeling that pressure of filming every step, or like, you know, taking nice shots of it, and which shots to take, which shots to not take. I don't think I do very well with that format of video, like temporal, like what I knit in a week, or a project diary. It stresses me out too much. So I think this is a silly reason to not do a project. So I will give up the idea of documenting the process for this. I'll talk about it in the podcast as normal, but I'll just make it. Like, I'll literally will probably just cast this on this weekend, because it was on my winter knitting plan list, and it's okay. I don't need to document everything that I do and post everything on social media. I'll just do it for myself. So I'm looking forward to doing that, and also because I filmed my goals video last year in like February, March, technically, if I do this in the next week, I would have been meeting that last year's goal. So yeah, it's not over yet. The next goal was to knit a black sweater, and I was talking in that video a lot about maybe not wanting a true black, maybe having something that's like a marled grey, charcoal, etc. And in the end I went with what I had talked about in that video, which was a mix of Filcolana Peruvian Highland wool in charcoal melange mixed with some Filcolana alva in black, as opposed to mohair, which is a lace strand of alpaca, and together they marled to give the perfect fabric. I love Peruvian Highland wool. It's an excellent yarn. I highly recommend it. It's kind of like Cascade 220 in that like the same weight and same roundness and stitch definition and everything, so if you can't get one, get the other. But yeah, I really like that sweater. I love that it has lace alpaca as opposed to mohair. It gave me gauge. It didn't add too much weight to something that is already quite hefty, and also it didn't itch, so it's really tolerable next to skin. I have worn the Dartmoor sweater, I don't know if I mentioned, but I made the Dartmoor sweater by Kadri as planned, and I've worn that a lot over winter. It is quite a heavy, warm jumper, so it's something that I would wear more when it's really cold. So I didn't get that much wear over like, yeah, the spring, summer, and it got more in autumn. I really like the pattern, I recommend it, and I really like the yarn, and I recommend it. And it helped me then scratch that itch of wanting a black sweater, even though I really think it's more of a dark grey sweater. I would be lying if I said it was a black sweater. But as I'll mention later in the 2024 knitting goals, I've been wanting to really lean into my seasonal colour palette as a bit of a just personal goal and challenge, and it's something that I've read up on that I actually wouldn't suit true blacks anyway with my colouring, because they would be too contrasting for my sort of low contrast face. So it's probably a good thing that I'm never going to be having this like true jet black sweater, and having more like really dark navies and charcoal greys are better options for me. So that's good to know in retrospect that that was a good idea to do that. And the next item was to knit a dress, and I didn't do that. I was maybe wanting to make the Augustins 27 for Christmas as a Christmas dress, and in the end I ended up making a Christmas jumper, not a Christmas dress. So no regrets there. I'm still happy that I did my Christmas jumper. As you can probably tell from my previous episode, I am smitten with it, super duper happy. And I think because I love that jumper so much, I think that this year in 2024, I want to do another Christmas jumper. I think I'd get more wear out of it as opposed to a Christmas dress, which I was struggling anyway to visualize how I would style it, because Augustin's patterns are very show-stopping, beautiful architectural pieces. But unless you have those big piratey white shirts to wear with them, it's kind of hard to see day to day what you would do. So anyway, all that to say that this year I will make another Christmas jumper, and I don't think I'll make a dress this year. And the next item was to test knit. So I had already been accepted into the Haley Slipover test knit, which I did. It was released in July. It's a really good pattern, really beautiful piece in a beautiful yarn, the fiber company Lore. And I had already been accepted into the Primrose test knit, which also made its way into my flops of the year. So yeah, a bit of a mixed bag here. But if you've followed me for a while, you know how I feel about test knits. It's been a wild ride. In fact, I'll show here a little extract of that video just so we can laugh at past Vanissia. I'm only trying to apply for test knits that I really want to do, because I don't want to get sucked in and doing projects I don't want to do just for the hype of it being a test knit. So yeah, clearly she didn't know what she was in for. I totally got sucked into it. It was really hard for me to resist applying to test knits. I ended up doing 8 test knits this year, and I've just finished my 9th. So that's wild. That is too many. And I didn't love all of them. In fact, I think 3 of them ended up on the flopping list video, so that tells you a lot. I did 2 for Creabea though, which I really enjoy doing, and then there's a possibility of like doing a little photo shoot to show off the project in the pattern page when she releases the pattern. So those ones I really do like. I also don't mind test knitting accessories, because usually the deadlines are more generous and the pressure is less intense, and if it's a sock or something, you can probably just go with making one, and the designer is okay with that. So I'm not going to stop myself from applying for more accessories, but I'm definitely going to stop myself from applying for more test knits, and I'll talk about that in the 2024 goals part of this video. The other thing I wanted to mention was that I wanted to up the stakes and then maybe test knit for Sari Nordland. It was a personal goal of mine. That also sadly didn't happen, but also it's because I had already made the decision to slow down my applications, and even though Sari released a lot of tester calls over the last 12 months, I didn't apply to all of them by far. I applied to a lot of accessories, didn't get picked, applied for a couple of garments, I can't even remember anyway, and so it was okay. I'm glad I didn't like get too blinded by my abstract goal that came out of nowhere to test for Sari. I'm glad I didn't let that just make me apply for like all of her testnets and then stress myself out. So yeah, it's okay. I did testnet for Ozetta and Creabea, which I know means nothing. Like, it's really not something that I should even feel proud about, because if anything, you know, testnetters offer their time and feedback and everything. Like, they're the ones providing a service. So yeah, it's something that I really wanted to retrain myself on how I approach and visualize testnets, and even the way that I talk about them, I want to be mindful of. So yeah, a bit of a controversial topic that maybe I'll touch on a bit more later in the video, but something that I'm so aware that my perspective has changed over in the last year, and that's okay, people change for sure, and I hope that in the future I'm still able to recognize when I change my mind on things and not stick to my guns no matter what. Then the penultimate goal was knitting 9 pairs of socks, and definitely met that goal. I actually got quite carried away in summer. I participated in the Summer Sock Cal by Sari Nordland, where it's kind of a mystery thing where she has you pick 3 colors of yarn, and then she releases a pattern once a month, and then on the 4th month she releases a scrappy pattern that uses the sock yarn of the leftovers of the like 3 first patterns. And I really enjoyed making the first sock, and then I totally fell off the wagon, but still continued with the Kyle. Didn't even win anything because like that, a lot of people participated. So yeah, this year again, I'm gonna try not to get sucked in on all those things. Try not to get into the hype to make those 4 pairs of socks like at that time. But I did enjoy having a bit of a like overarching goal of making a lot of socks, because I do enjoy wearing them. I'm wearing some now. It's really nice around the house, and a bit of a way to feel like I'm highlighting my knitting. Even if I'm not wearing a sweater, I can wear my socks around. So yeah, I want to keep making socks. In fact, there's a Ravelry challenge. Yeah, there's a challenge on Ravelry. I'll link it below. It's called the 52 pair plunge and 26 pair plunge, and actually there's also a 13 pair plunge. So I'm taking part in the 13 pair plunge, and it's not January to January, it's more like mid-year to mid-year. So right now I actually don't know what I'm at right now, but I've been on track with that, and I've basically been making at least 1 pair of socks a month. I don't know how anybody could make like 52 pairs, that's crazy. There's also a challenge for 104. But yeah, I'd recommend anyone to join in that group. There's also some prizes that you can win there as well, so there's lots of sponsors. So it's good to do that, and it's really nice to see my little box of hand-knit socks grow. So that goal has been met, and it will continue to stay on my list of goals for this year. And then the last goal was to knit socially, and that has totally and absolutely been met. I met with knitty friends for knit and chat coffee dates. I've met with a few knit nights. I've been to like a lot of virtual ones. I've hosted a virtual one. I've been to one in person a few times. I've been to a lot of the yarn festivals, which they were a blast. That was like the highlight of my year, was to go to all those yarn festivals, and seeing some of you guys and having those little chats and recognizing patterns everywhere. I've really appreciated this year in terms of what it has given me in terms of meeting people and having those valuable chats. And like I was saying at the beginning of the video, I really think that the Discord is really good for having those little casual conversations that don't feel as, you know, email-y as YouTube comments can be sometimes. But yeah, I think that's quite a lot already for just reviewing the knitting goals, so I hope that wasn't too much of a waffle. I really did enjoy spending time this morning watching back my old video, cringing a little bit, and then taking inventory about what went well and what I didn't meet, and if I still stand by my goals. And I really did. I don't think that any of those goals were silly or unrealistic or didn't have a good reason to have been made up in the first place. So I'm really glad that I made those goals, and I'm excited to talk to you about my 2024 knitting goals. So there will be 2 categories. I'll start with the big overarching goals, like I was saying at the beginning, just kind of like directions that I want to take and themes I want the year to have, and just things that may be a bit harder to tick but are nice to keep like being reminded that that was my intentions at the beginning of the year. So I'll maybe print off that little graph that I made, or graphic, and maybe just maybe post it periodically and remind myself. And then after that I'll talk about, I guess, some of the tickable ones just for posterity, and so next year it's easier for me to go and say whether I did them or not. So the first one is to have a net neutral stash. So something that got a little out of hand last year was the yarn buying. I know it's another really sensitive, controversial topic, so I don't want to get too into it, and it's also something that people feel strongly about, like either way, I feel. But personally, I feel like I bought enough yarn last year. It was sometimes overwhelming, other times it wasn't, so it's not like it was a feeling I was carrying through the entire year. Something that really got me was sales. I really became addicted to finding good deals and was really good at it. Like, most of the yarn I bought last year was definitely on sale, and I was proud of that. But yeah, I think I obviously buy yarn faster than I can knit with it, and I do knit really fast. I have a really large output of knitting, but I also have a large input, and overall I increased my yarn stash last year, as I'm sure a lot of people did. And I just want the focus to shift this year and to get rid of more yarn than I get in. And I'm still not completely sure of how I'm going to be doing that. I don't have any really hard and fast rules, but I want to spend more time thinking about them, because I do thrive in boundaries and rules and lists and everything, as you may be able to tell from this type of video and other ones that I've made. So I really want to spend time to figure out how to tackle this goal, but I just wanted to put it out there here, not even delve too much into it, I guess, but just to say that I am going to try to buy less yarn this year, and I mean it, and I know that everybody does when they say that in January, but I know it's quite a common feeling in the community, and there's lots of support groups and, you know, like motivating groups to do that kind of stuff. So yeah, I'm gonna lean into that. Then the next goal is going to be to really lean into color seasonality. So a few viewers have mentioned to me and really helped me figure out the colors that don't suit me, the colors that do suit me. And again, it's something that is polarizing and some people disagree with, but I personally respond well to having those kind of rules and indications and directions and just like a bit of a nudge. So I'll put here some color palettes that are supposed to be suiting me, and you can probably tell whether that's true or not. And I would be what is called a light summer. So low contrast in my face, skin tone and hair color means that I suit low contrast color. So bright, light, and pastels maybe. Those kind of like baby blues, aqua greens, flamingo pinks, greys are a good neutral, beiges and warm tones are not, so I'm a cooler palette. So I really agree with everything that they say, except the fact that I can't wear black. I don't like this rule, and I like still wear my black ready to wear garments. It's not something that I like decluttered everything of it. But anyway, so I really want to lean into that, and I've already made a little tag on my Ravelry stash of every yarn that fulfills that criteria. So any yarn I have in stash that is in that palette, I really want to prioritize those this year. And I'm looking around at my stash, and like it's definitely quite inspiring and motivating to know that if I wanted to, by the end of the year, I could probably have an item in every one of these colors on those palettes. And I think it'll be something that I'd love to see a big montage of at the end, is if I was braver and even went further than just grays and blues, which are my like safe colors. Trying those flamingo pinks, trying those aqua greens, I think would be quite nice to see if I like it or not. And at worst, I'll just have a garment that I don't like the color of. No big deal, that's already the case, as you can tell from the flopping video. So yeah, let me know what you think of that, and if you know your coloring, tell me if you've been following those rules for yourself, or if you've been having that palette as an inspiration. Sometimes when I'm wanting to plan a project or like a yarn festival buying hand-dyed, I actually do have that little chart on my phone, and I look at it to help me buy yarn. And I think it's been really nice to help me with like the decision paralysis that comes sometimes when there's so many options available and so many beautiful colors. So I'm really excited about this goal in particular, and I can't wait to, like I said, afterwards reflect on my like palette of the year and see what color I used the most, and whether I had more success than failures. The next goal is going to be to slow down. slow down. And I mean that in so many different senses of the term. So I will try and talk about that without waffling. But I think the most important one is just about, again, the knitting output. I probably maybe was even knitting a lot last year to justify the fact I was buying so much. So if I buy less, maybe I'll feel less the need to knit as fast and be less overwhelmed by, sometimes I was overwhelmed by my stash, and other times I was overwhelmed by my pile of knits, because me knitting up a sweater quantity isn't getting rid of that item, it's just putting it in a different location in my flat. And I've knitted like way over 50 things last year. If I knit 50 again this year and the year after, I just will not have the ability to store all of that. And I also don't really feel like I want to keep on knitting things and then giving them away or selling them, or like I don't want this to become a thing I have to do or another item on the to-do list, and something to worry about. So something that I think will help me do that is to tackle more complex knits, which is kind of the next item on the list anyway. So it'll take me longer to finish items, because the Dartmoor sweater was probably able to do that in like 2 or 3 weeks, since it's a big iron weight jumper, whereas something like the Burra cowl, that very thin color work cowl, that took me a few months, or at least a few weeks. And yeah, I want to do more fingering weight sweaters, so just like thinner yarns in general, color work, cables. I really want to do cabled sweaters, and I know that these will take me longer. So yeah, slowing down the knitting and the production, the output of me. I also want to slow down with trends. It's something that I even said in my last goals video. I get swept up really easily. I'm very easily influenceable, and I know that about me, and I try and stop it when I can if I want to. Sometimes I don't stop myself because like it's enjoyable and fun, but I really want to be mindful, again, not to apply to every test knit that I see by a designer that I like, not to participate in all the knit-alongs and cals and mystery things again, because what if I don't like it in the end? What if it takes the fun out of it? I don't want to get too bogged down as well on like YouTuber trends. Something that I'm really like happy about this year is that I've decided not to do an everything I knit in 2023, because it is a trend. It is something that is sort of expected of us, and that everyone's doing it, so why don't you? And I just really didn't feel like making one this year, and I was really happy to tell myself, well, slow down. You don't have to do it. Just don't do it if you don't want to do it. Like, you don't have to do it because everybody else is doing it. So I really want to take that philosophy and apply it for my YouTube channel and my Instagram as well. So I just want to do me and not do what others are doing just because I feel like I have to. And it's okay to get inspired by others, and it's totally okay to hop on trends if you want. It's just being more mindful of the reasons why we do those things. Yeah, if it's going to end up making us produce things like knitting or videos that we're not happy with. I also want to slow down being influenced, like, to buy. So if there's a sale, like, slow down and think about it. Do you really want that? Not buying mohair anymore, that's something that is not really like on any of those goals, but I guess it fits there, and it's the trend of mohair. I am out of it. I will not buy mohair again. I will use the one I have in stash for vests, because those ones, especially v-necks, I'm fine to wear with my shirts and stuff anyway. So I will use my mohair, or destash it and sell it. But I will not buy anymore. And I'm really excited and looking forward to that. I will absolutely make you guys a video all about mohair substitutions once I've gathered enough data, aka bought more yarn for it. But yeah, I'm looking forward to trying out those other alternatives. Even just like holding a merino double or using double Sunday as opposed to fingering and mohair is an example of how I plan to tackle that goal. And then buying less like hand-dyed when there's pre-orders and limited editions things. Like, it's just, you don't need to get anything. And businesses using FOMO, or fear of missing out, as a sales tactic is something that we need to be aware of and resist. Same as like emotional buying and things like that. So yeah, let me know your thoughts on this whole slowing down thing, if you know what I'm talking about, if you can relate to it, and if you have any ideas on how I can do that in any of those areas that I've just mentioned. Then the next one is to design a pattern, and it's something that again came from the charity live stream, where if we raised a certain amount of money, I would dip my toes in designing. It's something that I don't have any like desire to do full time or anything. I don't even think that I am going to design a garment maybe ever, but I really wanted to just like have an idea come out of my mind that is mine, and then go through the motions of like learning exactly what designers go through in terms of like A to Z, the process, and then obviously like doing it the right way. I really want to try and hit all those marks, and then I want to release the pattern and I want to see people knit it. I think this is something that I really like, is, and I know this might sound a bit like up my own arse, but I like to have an impact on people, or I like it when I do something and it influences people. If it's something that I stand by, you know, like if it's something that I say offhandedly and then everybody follows that, I'll feel weird and guilty about it. But if I have a really cool idea and I put it out in the world and people knit that idea, that would make my day. So I really want to experience that feeling. So this is why I want to design. It's twofold. I want to know what designers go through and know what it's like to design a pattern out of sheer curiosity, and then I'd also like just be so happy if I saw other people knit something that I've come up with. So I asked your opinion last video, and a lot of you guys said that designing an accessory was a good idea over a garment, and then also in terms of the pricing, a lot of people were in favor of a pay what you want model or a charity release. So I still am not decided. I think it'll depend on how complex the pattern I come up with is. If it's something that's really, really easy, then maybe I'll just do pay what you want. And then if it's something that's maybe a bit more complex that deserves, I guess, more remuneration, then I'll make it a charity release, and then I'll obviously then give it to charity. So yeah, I'm excited for that. I think it's going to be either some kind of like mittens or wrist warmers, or a cowl or a scarf. That's the two directions that it's probably going to go. And I've actually had quite a lot of ideas already and been thinking about it. So I'm really looking forward to that, and I'm having a lot of fun brainstorming already. Next item is to tackle my hand-dyed stash. I have a lot of hand-dyed. Last year I bought my first hand-dyed in December, like sweater quantity, and I still haven't used it. So that's an absolute must this year, is to use that Zakami brushed alpaca hand-dyed. I had a bit of a hesitation where I wasn't sure anymore if I wanted to just do a plain Monday sweater or if I wanted to make like a broken rib sweater, and I think I've landed on the broken rib v-neck oversized jumper, so that's what I'm probably going to be doing. I don't have any reason why I wouldn't do it now, it just wasn't a priority, but if I keep on not having it a priority, it'll never get done, so I really need to do that before getting too swept up in my other hand-dyed quantities. I have a lot of single skeins, which I've made a couple of videos on what to do with 1 or 2 skeins of hand-dyed, so I really need to follow my own ideas, and a lot of those projects and my favorites and my cues are perfect for that. Like I have an idea for every single skein of hand-dyed that I've bought, like that's for sure. They are all linked to a certain project or pattern in my like stash and queue, so everything is ready. I just need to prioritize those items, and I think in hand with that net neutral stash goal, I need to be mindful with stopping to buy things if I'm not using them. So same for some yarns, you know, like I kept on buying mohair even though I didn't like it. That doesn't make any sense. So I really need to get a hold of my hand-dyed stash, and I think some kind of realistic goal I could do is at least make 1 hand-dyed project a month. That could be quite easy, or every other sweater I do could be a hand-dyed sweater, and that would be really helpful in tackling the sweater quantities of hand-dyed, which were like the priciest and ones that I should feel the happiest about, because like they're a big investment and commitment, so why not knit them up? So yeah, I'm looking forward to that, and I hope that you're also looking forward to seeing what I make with my hand-dyed, because sometimes it's something that we love buying, but we don't necessarily know what to do with it, so I hope to provide some inspiration for you guys without making you feel like hand-dyed is a necessity or a thing that every knitter should use. I still want it to be special for me and not something that I rely on for every item. I don't want to become the person who only knits with hand-dyed. I just want to use the hand-dyed that I do have, and then we can go back to normal, regular commercial yarns. Next is to keep attending yarn festivals, even just for the social aspect. So again, yarn festivals are perfect for hand-dyed, but I need to buy less hand-dyed. So what even is the point of me going? Well, actually paying like £6 to £10 to attend a day out in Edinburgh or Glasgow and meet so many knitty friends, be inspired, be overwhelmed, but like manage that anxiety and manage those feelings of there's too much. Like sitting down, if I go there, even with just like, you know, the intention of I'll buy one skein of hand-dyed, I keep on saying that, one skein of hand-dyed, or like a budget of £30 or something, or maybe go for like tote bags or accessories or things like that. I totally could take a lot from those knitting festivals that isn't just buying hand-dyed, and I'm looking forward to being more intentional about this year and what I go to those festivals for. I've been doing that in the latter half of the year. Like the latest 2 festivals that I went to, I had really specific ideas and plans, and I'm super happy with how they went. So yeah, I think it'll be interesting to try and go and not feel like I have to buy hand-dyed yarn festival. I think I'm going to do all of the Scottish ones this year. I don't think I'm going to be doing any of the English ones or any abroad ones. But yeah, if you see me at any of them, of course, feel free to come and say hi. And if you've talked to me before, or if you've commented on videos, like maybe let me know what your username is so that I can like put a face to the name. Because yeah, I've had a few times people come to me and say like, oh hi, I'm such and such, and I'm just like, I don't know who this is. So sorry if I was ever awkward. But yeah, the next goal is going to be to fix, mend, declutter. So I think this is again a bit more with the slowing down, and it's sometimes I spend so much time knitting and not as much time on the finishing details. I've been really good at weaving my ends and blocking and everything and sewing buttons as soon as I finish a cardigan. That is so important. I had started to make a video, but it never actually ended up being done, which was me fixing, I think, 5 of my sweaters by adding a button here, sewing down a neckline here, reinforcing the neck edge here. Like, I was documenting that whole thing, and then my computer crashed and lost the footage, and yeah, it just never came out. But I did spend a lot of time this year in that period fixing knits, and it was really rewarding. It wasn't enjoyable, but it was rewarding. So I want to do that this year and spend time, if I notice that something is too small, like a sleeve, like shorten it. If it's too long, or vice versa, you know what I mean. And mending things if they break. For example, this Marseille sweater that I've been raving about, the fact that Double Sunday doesn't pill on me. Well, I finally worn this enough that it does pill. Don't know if you're going to be able to see. Probably not. The quality of this is so good. And I have a depiler, I have a shaver now, so I'm going to be, maybe today, go in and shave it off, and that way it'll be me respecting my knits in the way that they deserve to be respected. And, you know, I don't need to be making 5 sweaters if I just take care of the 2 that I have, and things like that. So it's not an item I'm really looking forward to doing, but it's something that I think is necessary for me to set as an intention and keep that in mind. And in the same way, decluttering is something that I want to do, where I don't need to hold on to everything that I have. I'm a bit of a hoarder, and if the knits don't bring joy, I can give them away. If a project isn't bringing joy, I can just like frog it. If I'm not using a book or something, I could donate it. So I really want to do that, to be more mindful of what I want in my home, is kind of the gist of a lot of those items, isn't it? And then the last item on those generic goals is that I want to enter a craft show. So last year I entered the Edinburgh Royal Highland Show in the crochet category. I don't know if you remember, I made this like nice crochet shawl. It was like a lace pattern with triangles here and then some mosaic crochet. It was really nice. I was really proud of that. It was a lot of work and it took a long time, but it was really nice. It was my first time doing anything like that. Sadly, I did not win, but it was nice to see my work like being exposed and out next to everybody else. I got marked for it, so I got 17 out of 20 points. I lost a couple of points for the workmanship, techniques, finish, and presentation, which, ouch, my feelings, that hurts a lot. For example, like the design and use of color, I got 3.5 out of 4, because I think, yeah, the design was really pretty. But yeah, the different categories were design and use of color, suitability of material, workmanship, technique, finish, and presentation, and then degree of difficulty. And in total, this gives you like 20 points possibles for grabs. And I didn't win anything, so that's it was a bit of a hit to the ego, because you know, like on YouTube everybody's always like, oh my god, your knits are so beautiful and like everything you do is so great, like you guys are really giving me too much confidence. And then you go and you enter a competition and like you get told that, you know, this is not like the highest level of workmanship it could have been, and it's like, okay, maybe my ends weren't woven in perfectly, or maybe they noticed mistakes in the lace like section. I don't know who those people are, but I really like competitions, so this really got my competitive vibe going, and I'm totally entering again this year. I wasn't inspired by the knitting categories from last year, but this year I am, so I'll be entering some mittens, I think, maybe some socks, some DK socks they're wanting. I'm going to give them DK socks. I'm also going to enter some crochet. So yeah, if you want to follow along, the show is going to be in like June or something, so I'll probably start working on these items pretty much starting from now, because again, I don't want to stress over this deadline. And it's all in good fun, by the way. I hope that this is coming across. But yeah, I think I really want to enter again and see if I can do better than I did last year. So here's a summary of all those goals. I made a little graphic here on Canva. I think it's super cute and super exciting, and again, it's leaning into that whole like pinky seasonal like shade that should suit me well, as opposed to like the beiges and everything. So yeah, maybe let me know what your goals are, and if you have any of those that are the same as me. But then before we finish, I'll talk about some other like quickly specific ones, because I hope that you can't hear my stomach growling. It's almost lunchtime. So yeah, let's talk about some fast goals. I want to knit more patterns from the books I have. So I got my Sari Nordland book that Ross gave me for Christmas. I've got Mary Wallen book that I will definitely use again this year. And I have the Stone Knits Colorwork book. She's coming out with a second one, and I cannot, in good faith, buy it if I don't make at least one more from her book. I made the chicken socks, so at least I've done one, but I need to make another one. There's also the 52 weeks of socks, like chapter 1 and chapter 2. I need to do more from that. Shouldn't be hard, since I'm intending to make lots of pairs of socks this year anyway. So knit from books is a must, and it's not something that I think is going to be too hard. And it's just a matter of remembering that I have them, because they're not as easily like findable on Ravelry and stuff, even though like they're technically visible in my shelf when I'm at my desk. Then I also want to, like, this is an absolute must, I must make a pattern from Andrea Mowry this year. I don't think I've ever done one, but I've bought so many, because she has her birthday sale in summer where like last year I think it was like 45% or something, or 44%. So it's a really good deal, and again, sales, you know, they get me, especially for like patterns and yarns. So I did buy a lot of Andrea Mowry patterns 2 years in a row, have not done a single one. I think the one I'm going to do like very soon is the Pink Fizz by her. That's one I have yarn for, and I need to do that, otherwise I'm going to feel like such a fool for keeping on buying her patterns. Like, and a lot of them, like the first time I bought from her sale, I bought like 6 garments. And then the year after that, I bought a few more garments, and it's like, why are you buying garment patterns? Like, you've not even made one. I've bought a couple of accessories, like her cowls, so that'll be an easy win as well. I could do at worst, but I really hope I do the Pink Fizz by Andrea Mowry. And they're gorgeous patterns. I don't know why they're just never a priority for me. And I think, yeah, it's just knitting more patterns from designers that I've bought like early on. I think it would be good to go in my Ravelry library and go backwards to see what I bought a long time ago. Then yeah, next challenge is to knit 13 pairs of socks. And I guess, yeah, I am running from that like Ravelry challenge timeline, so not January to January, but like July to July. So I'm at 7 out of 13, actually, I just checked. So I just need 6 more pairs before the before July, then I'll do it again. And again, I recommend people to sign up for that. I'll put the link below. Then I also want to knit another Christmas jumper. I was thinking of either doing the Santa Baby by Phil Kalana, I think it's a free pattern, or the one from Skandir knits the Festive Yoke, either jumper or cardigan. I'm not sure yet. She also had a sale at some point this winter, and I almost bought that, but I didn't know whether to do the cardigan or the sweater, so that decision paralysis stopped me, and I didn't buy the pattern yet, so fair enough. The cardigan is steeked though, so I think that would be a good incentive to try and then manage to fulfill that goal from last year, where I could make this kind deer cardigan in some nice Jamieson and Smith, like maybe red and white, or navy and white, or charcoal and white are the colors I'm thinking of, and then steeking it. I also don't know if I want to do it like all over or just the yoke. I'm leaning towards just the yoke, and then a bit on the sleeves or something, and then like just like charcoal for the body and make it cropped and steek it. I think that could be really cute, but I don't know if the vision I have now is going to be the one I have in winter, but I want to make something for Christmas, long story short. Then I also want to make Christmas socks. Like I said in my previous episode, I got some Christmas yarn this Christmas, so Christmas sock yarn. So I want to make sure I use it before I receive my next Christmas skein of sock yarn. Definitely will also try to felt that beret very soon. I don't think I'll try and do intarsia or any other technique like that. I think I'll have enough with my like magnum opus knits in terms of hard techniques, and the whole point of me doing those like slowing down things, like I don't feel like I need to improve my skills as a knitter by ticking off new boxes of new skills, but maybe just getting better at the ones I already have, like maybe improving my tension, maybe learning a different way of like purling that is making my rib neater. I think I want to focus on that actually, and making my stitches neater, my rib neater. I think lately I've been feeling like maybe I should just make the move completely to bamboo needles for everything, because it would make my tension a tad tighter, but we'll see. And then the next tickable goal, like I said, is to make Ross another jumper, and yeah, don't know when I'll do that, because his birthday is in August, so I could start it in August, show him like the yoke, I guess, as like his present, and then have him try it on from that point forward, and then he could wear it in autumn. Yeah, there we go. I think that would work really well. So I think that's everything for those goals. I feel like I talked a lot, and I really hope that it was okay to follow, and that yeah, I hope that this video didn't overwhelm you or make you feel like you're not doing enough or anything like that. Like, I had a lot of fun coming up with those goals. I really feel like those kind of things really work for me, and it brings me joy to plan. It doesn't bring stress or anything, and I really enjoyed going through like the previous video and seeing what I had achieved, and I liked the fact that I had some very specific goals, because then it was just really easy at first glance to be like, yes or no, did you do it? So I'm looking forward to next year when I'm able to hopefully tick off as many of those boxes as possible. But yeah, like I said, I'll be periodically maybe reminding myself and you guys of these goals, and I really would be curious to hear what yours are, so take a minute to think about them and leave a comment below. And again, if you want to message me on Instagram or on Discord and we can chat about goals there, that would be super lovely as well. I hope you're doing well, hope that you're having a lot of knitting time done, and maybe use this video to get some progress on whatever you were working on. But I think that's it for today. I think actually very lastly, I wanted to let you know that next week I'm going to be doing a live stream, not a charity one or not a 12-hour one, but just as a way to chat with you guys. So I'll be doing it on Sunday 28th of January at 7 p.m. GMT. So yeah, 7 p.m. my time, UK time, and I hope that you guys can join me. That'll just be on YouTube. I'll probably put a link to that on Instagram, and maybe like a preview thumbnail or something to just catch your attention the day before or on the day. But I really hope you can join me and participate in the chat. Again, it's always really nice to bounce off from like what you guys are saying. I don't have any plans of anything I particularly want to talk about, maybe just knit and chat, catch up, but just doing it live as opposed to filming a knit and chat. And that will be instead of a video on the next Monday. So yeah, come to the live on the 28th and then join me for a regular podcast episode on the 4th of February. That's it for me. I hope that you will make it, and happy knitting, everybody. See you next time. Bye!